Halo semua, welcome to my channel. Sebelum kalian nonton videonya, jangan lupa like dan subscribe ya. Like dan subscribe. Are you ready for the lesson today? Before we begin the lesson, don't forget to take notes for every lesson on this video and use a journal to track your online learning. Well, now we will learn about simple past. Let's begin with the definition first. What is simple past? When you express something happens in the past, you use simple past. The simple past is used to talk about activities or situations that began and ended in the past. For example, when you say yesterday, last night, 2 days ago, in 1999, you must use simple past tense. There are 3 forms of the simple past. Some simple past verbs are formed by adding suffix ed to a verb. It is called regular verb. So, form number 1 is regular verb. Some verbs have irregular past forms. It is called irregular verb. So, form number 2 is irregular verb. And some have B form. So the third form is B form. These are the 3 forms of simple past. The first form is regular verb. It is formed by adding suffix ed to a verb. What is suffix? Well, suffix is a group of words which is added at the end of a word. As you can see here, the word stay become stayed. Stay is verb 1 and stayed is verb 2. For example, Bob stayed home yesterday morning. Why it becomes stayed? Because here there is the time signal yesterday. So it becomes stayed. It uses simple past verb. Another example, arrive, arrived. Our plane arrived on time last night. There is the time signal last night, so it must use the simple past verb or verb 2. So for the form of regular past form is subject plus verb 2. This is the form. Subject plus verb 2. For the negative form, you just simply add didn't and verb 1 after the subject. Like you can see here in the example, Tom didn't work yesterday. He didn't stay in Bandung. Remember, didn't is did not. You can either say didn't or did not. For the question form, you put the word did in the beginning of the sentence before the subject. So for the question form is did plus subject plus verb 1. For example, did Tom work yesterday? If the answer is yes, so it is yes, he did. If the answer is no, it is no, he didn't. Another example, did he stay in Bandung? The answer is yes, he did or no, he didn't. The second form is irregular past form. It has irregular past form which is different from the base verb or the verb 1. For example, eat becomes ate. it is verb 1, ate is verb 2. In this case, ate is the past form of eat. So you must use the word ate if this time signal is in the past. Like you see here in the example, I ate breakfast this morning. Why it used ate? Because there is the time signal this morning. This morning is the past time. So you must use the past form of eat. In this case, the past form of eat is ate. So it becomes I ate breakfast this morning. Another example is take. Take becomes took. Nadia took a taxi to the airport yesterday. Well, that's the irregular verbs. Actually, the forms of the simple past using regular and irregular verb is actually the same. You just simply add the verb to after the subject. So the only difference between regular and irregular verb is the verb to itself. For the regular verb, you just simply add the suffix ed at the end of the verb. But for the irregular verb, you cannot add the suffix ed at the end of the verb. So the only way to know whether the verb is regular or irregular is just by memorizing them. So you have to memorize the list of irregular verb. But don't worry, I have put the list of irregular verb here on the description. You can check it and download the list of irregular verbs. So I hope you can memorize them. Please memorize the list of the irregular verb. That's irregular past form. For the negative and question form of irregular verb, it is the same with the regular verb. The form is subject plus didn't plus verb 1. For example, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. Nadia didn't take a taxi to the airport yesterday. For the question form, the form is did plus subject plus verb 1. As in, did you eat breakfast this morning? The answer is yes, I did, or no, I didn't. Another example, did she take a taxi yesterday? The answer is yes, she did, or no, she didn't. So that's the negative and question form of irregular verb. Irregular past verb. Be form is the last form of the simple past. It is used when there is no verb. So we need an auxiliary verb. So it uses was or were. It depends on the subject. For the subject, I, she, he, or it uses was. For example, I was in class yesterday. There is no verb here, so we need an auxiliary verb. In this case, it uses was as the auxiliary verb because the subject here is I, and then time signal is yesterday. So the correct sentence is I was in class yesterday. For the negative statement, you just simply add not after was. So it becomes I was not, or I wasn't in class yesterday. And for the question statement, just put the word was in the beginning of the sentence. So it becomes, was I in class yesterday? Remember, The be form was is the past form for the subject I, she, he, and it. For the subject we, you, and they, the past form be is were. And the form is actually the same as the previous one. It is subject plus were for the statement, subject plus were not for the negative statement, and were plus subject for the question statement. Just take a look at the example here. You were on a cruise ship in the Mediterranean Sea last month. You were not on a cruise ship in the Mediterranean Sea last month. Were you on a cruise ship in the Mediterranean Sea last month? So that's all the forms of the simple past. Well, students, that's all for today's lesson. If you still don't understand and have a question, you can comment down below. To end our lesson today, let me give you some quotes. Learning from home can be difficult, but it's definitely achievable. Remote learning helps reinforce lifelong skills such as time and energy management, independence, and creative thinking. So enjoy it. See you again on the next lesson.